Well, welcome back to Endless Ocean Blue World.
Yup.
Back Nine Ball Island. And we have a special guest with us today.
Is it me?
Hello there.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Hazo on the forums. Happy to be here. I do fish stuff.
Yeah, we got ourselves a professional fishman with us.
Also, I'm here.
Well, yes.
Of course, Red's here.
I'm the very special guest.
There are reports of Song of Dragons hanging out in this iceberg with an incomprehensible, ID. And because we set up the aquarium, we get a bunch of new titles.
Can we be a
Triage training.
mighty trainee now?
We could, but we're not going to. We only just became a mighty ibis.
Oh, we
Just
can
leave
become a
it as that.
terrarium ibis. Or a vivarium ibis.
That sounds horrifying, being a vivarium ibis.
Or a mighty director.
We are not turning Nadine into Steven Spielberg. Well, we got some maps, so we could go... we should do some dolphin training.
Dolphin time?
Dolphin time.
Yes.
Mandelbrot.
Come here, you.
It's weird that a mathematician is so good at singing.
Oh, just wait, he'll start fractaling it up. I'm almost positive that changes once he learns another trick.
But we've almost learned every trick, though.
Yeah, but not the last one.
I think you're just trying to cover your ass for, updates down the line and then...
No, believe me, I've trained this dolphin for far longer than you have.
It's true, but...
Ugh.
Look at him go.
Yeah, it's just... Oh!
Hey.
You learned the spin attack. Ridley don't stand a chance. Okay, Ridley is probably gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Until a statue blows him up again or something.
I'm not sure I agree with the fact that they just give new records when it's the second time they've done it.
It's a new record.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
But don't... it's nice and encourage him, but... can't get his ego too huge.
Zorak, why do you hate Mandelbrot?
I love Mandelbrot. He is not that fucker Skippy. Mandelbrot is great. All the dolphins in this game are great.
Is Hayako just sitting there eating chips?
Yes, she is.
Alright.
Look. She likes her Doritos.
I almost fell out of the boat on that one. I'm gonna stand up. Well, that was... Yeah.
I want to look at his card. Let's see what's going on in his card. Let's see. Here's his current records.
Oh, I gotta get that wave up, man.
Yeah.
He's relatively new to waving. You'd think that'd be one of the simplest ones, but...
You think?
I suppose we should get rid of some of these news and look what quests we have ahead of us. Let's see.
Anticipation.
Well, we finished the map, so now Oceana is going to eventually get money.
Oh, the coins you've been finding.
Yeah.
As you complete the coins, if they match a story, it'll fill in there, you'll get a little story out of them.
Look at this one right here. Oh, Perseus.
Yay.
There's the story of Perseus. Too bad someone already told us about it.
If you find all those, you'll get a special reward. All the ones mentioned there. So I think you just need Pegasus and Cepheus.
Classic guitar. Saw that strange thing out there. I don't know. Well, this is a different thing, actually.
Well, yeah, remember the dog saw thing.
No, that's different. The floating island is what the dog saw.
Oh!
The mysterious object is something completely different. We're just kind of constantly surrounded by mystery and wonder. There's Song of Dragons, there's floating islands, there's...
Things the dog sees.
There's magic birds.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Ah, magic birds. We should probably actually go look for that magic bird, thinking about it.
Dracula's castle.
We should probably go find that magic bird, and we should probably do something about those dying monk seals. They are pretty super mega endangered.
Oh yeah.
Incredibly endangered. What's their prognosis right now?
Fucked.
I don't know. Are they at fucked levels, or are they just like potentially fucked levels?
Pretty sure they're like critical.
Yeah, I think
Well,
they're...
critical does not mean you're going to die. Critical means anything could go wrong immediately and they would die.
Critical is the most endangered of all the endangered categories.
They should have a level beyond where it's like near extinct.
Like, oh god, do something now.
Well, no, near extinct should be like there's nothing you can do. It's going to be
that
extinct.
That would be extinct in the wild.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was more thinking like if we found a Baiji right now, that's critically, there's a difference.
Well,
critically,
that is functionally extinct.
Functionally, well, yeah. If we found, is it actually called functionally extinct?
Yes, it is
It
listed
is,
as
I don't think
extinct.
it's an actual category.
Yeah, it is. Right now, it's listed extinct.
Okay, well, I mean, but if we found a Baiji, it wouldn't be extinct. But if it's just a single Baiji and it's the only one left, that's no longer critically endangered. You can recover from. You cannot recover from having a single individual or having a population so small that it's genetically just nothing. There's no chance. Like, poor dead lonesome George, may he rest in turtle peace.
He was a tortoise. Thank you very much.
Tortoise peace. Turtle peace. Tortoise peace. Tortoises
He was a
are
tortoise, Mom.
Tortoises are turtles, as you know.
I only recently figured out that a lot of these the scribbles at the bottom of these are actually scientific names of fish.
Mm-hmm.
Took me a while to figure that out.
Don't provoke the sailfish this time. Literally terrifying.
I don't know if I will succeed at that task, Red. I'm sorry.
We'll see.
Okay, so I think this is the first time we've actually came back here during the day after finding Thanatos, so... Japanese Jack Mackerel, what are you doing here? This is not Japan. This is nowhere near Japan. This is...
They were brought here by the gods.
Hey, look at that.
Get it.
Ah, good old monk seal. Monk seal. Monkfish. Well, we were looking for a monk seal and we found the fish instead.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It's the most gorgeous of fish.
It is.
Particularly delicious, though, they say. People do say that.
Also, this
Not sure I
asshole.
believe them, but... Ah! That poor Mahi-Mahi's getting his ass beat. Our olive flounder.
Not helping, Flounder.
Flounders aren't known for their helpfulness. They're known for being occasionally delicious, but...
Maybe you should look at this documentary that I could recommend you called The Little Mermaid. That flounder was very helpful.
That flounder was not even a flounder. His eyes were on the right side. Or on the centers. They were straight.
The correct side?
Yeah. I don't know if it was the issue was it wasn't on a side at all. They were just eyes.
So what are these Japanese angel sharks doing here?
Being angel sharks. Being quite lost.
Oh, look at that shiny thing.
The interesting thing about the Japanese angel sharks, actually, is that their skin was used to make files and whatnot. And swords.
Canis Major, the greater dog, represents a hunting dog. The constellation contains the star Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. The dog it specifically represents is either the dog Laelaps, which was a gift from Zeus to Europa, or it could be one of Orion's hunting dogs, or sometimes it's the Hound of Procris. Maybe it's the one given by Aurora to Cephalus. If this is the case, that dog was so famed for its speed that Zeus elevated it into the sky. Nothing is faster than a dog. Sure are some pillars here.
Well, it is.
There's a shiny thing.
Oh boy, a vase. I will treasure this vase forever in my family.
It's a jar.
Jar.
You don't know it's a vase yet. It's covered in barnacles.
What is the distinction between a jar and a
I
vase?
don't know.
Is there
Maybe
an
this-
actual
Maybe one of them's
classification
flared?
scheme?
I don't know.
Is there an actual classification scheme?
I don't know. I am not an expert on pottery.
I'm a big fan of these neckbeard fish.
Yeah.
They really do have neckbeards. Wow, you're right. Didn't really think about it. They're like a giant. They flattened the fat man and made him a fish.
Around here we actually call them goosefish, and I think that's a pretty common name in a lot of places too. I think there's a variety of other names for them, but I always just learned to call them goosefish because another name for angel sharks actually is monkfish.
Yep.
They get that because there's a separation between the head and the pectoral fins, which apparently looks like the hood of 16th century monks.
Yep. Sea monk. Hate that guy.
So does see Dracula.
Oh.
I know I promised, but I couldn't help it.
It's below you.
Why are they called goosefish though, or sea gooses or whatever?
I do not know, actually.
That's
Is there
actually-
flesh like geese flesh? Goose flesh?
Red, you're from down this area. Any idea? You've heard of that, though, right?
No, they don't have goosefish down here as often.
Oh, okay.
Well, but you're from you're originally from an area that had quite a lot of them though.
You know, I don't know why they're called goosefish. I always called them monkfish.
Oh, you always call them monkfish? Oh.
That's what I've always called them. I'm gonna look up why they are called goosefish. I'll
If you
report
could find
back.
that, I'd be very interested.
Also, unfortunately, we have a medium-sized bag now, but that's not big enough for barrels. I don't want to think what kind of bag we need to carry with to grab a barrel, but we will eventually find one, I presume. So I don't see any monk... I don't know where we're going to find these monk seals. They're supposed to be lost. Little monkfish lost, but I don't know. They didn't really specify where we can find them.
Oh, what are these guys?
Oh.
Hey.
They're motherfuckers, that's what.
The coolest guys.
They are awesome fish. I'm a big fan of these guys.
Good old great barracuda.
Saw some juvenile ones the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You sure they weren't senates?
So again?
You sure they weren't senates?
Pretty sure.
I've seen senates in estuaries, and I've heard people catching barracudas in estuaries, but
Mm-hmm.
vast majority of the northern senates, which are still same genus, Spirina.
Right.
Barracudas just have the coolest attitudes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they're just so curious is the thing.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say that. They're just the most curious. They're not like they have this really bad rap for being mean, but that's
Oh,
not
what's
right.
going on there?
Yeah, I don't know what that monkfish was doing.
If anybody needs a pulsar, that's him.
Yeah, maybe I should have, but hindsight. But yeah, barracudas I mean, that guy in Thread got torn up by one, which is sad. But they're so just chill. They just love this. They're really not threatening at all unless you have shininess or you do stuff that gets their attention.
I think it's just people get freaked out because they're so curious that they just have no fear, basically.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I was diving with a bunch of instructors who were taking classes out for coral reef IDs.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the instructors, a real tall, skinny British guy, had a long rod that he was using to point out coral so the students could ID him. And there's this, like, I don't know, 3.5, 4 foot long barracuda that was following him around. And it kept getting in the way between him and the coral he was pointing at. So it got to the point where he just, like, looked at the barracuda, looked back at the students, and just took the stick and just whapped the hell out of the thing.
Wow.
Shark! Shark!
Oh god,
it's
that's
Thanatos.
Thanatos. That's the god of death. Maybe we should move away from
You should,
here.
yeah, you just lost 2 chunks of air.
Yeah, I think it's time for a tactical retreat. Okay, note to self, Thanatos lives in the south of this part of the Aegean.
You know, unless he appears in the north.
No. So they just hit the Barracuda? Why? Because was he getting like threatening, or they just want him away?
Oh, no, he wasn't threatening. He was just wanted to get rid of him.
No.
I asked him about it later, and he just like, bloody nasty little bugger.
Are you paparazziing Thanatos?
Look, I want his information.
The last shot is his gullet.
I want to know where the gold is. Ah, okay. So we got an achievement about Thanatos.
Right in.
You gotta get his picture. Get his picture. Ah,
There we go. There we
Thanatos
go.
buddies.
He's got cronies.
Okay, well, time to retreat. Yeah, and the general thing with Thanatos is, mythologically or whatever, is that he hates people.
Especially you.
He just hates all people. Maybe he's the incarnation of nature's hatred towards mankind. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
A group?
A fleet.
Lurking from the depths.
Ooh.
What is a group of manta rays called?
I believe it would still be a school.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They call everything a school. Unlike land animals where they come up with like random names for every type of grouping.
It's a murder of rays.
A murder of rays. It's one devil of a ray group.
It's an unkindness of rays.
Quick, use the rays as shields.
Well, we're seem to be far enough away from the great whites, and these hammerheads don't care.
Man, that is a long manta train.
Manta train. That sounds
Get on
like...
board the manta train.
Man train?
Woo woo!
The manta rays just do not care. Which is somewhat unrealistic, actually, because manta rays aren't... They're slightly disturbed by bubbles from divers. Not hugely. They're just not. It kind of makes them a little uncomfortable.
But they're so pretty. How can you not want to go up close to them?
I know, but oh wait,
Hey,
that's
what's that?
that looks like a monk seal.
My god.
Right next to some great white sharks. Monk seal, you might want to get out of here. On the other hand, he's pretty healthy, so I don't know how he is so healthy, but
That's a great white.
yeah. Okay, I got him healed, so I'm fine. Unfortunately, I'm too much in danger to look at him. You can't look at him, it's much too dangerous. And there's a swarm of them. I should maybe retreat.
Probably a good idea.
Still haven't fixed that skinny call up peduncle thing from the first game? In the Great White model? I don't know, that bothers me.
It looks like
They're much better than it looked like in the first game.
they're much better
Yeah.
looking. They're not... It's not perfect.
They look like weird white tip blue shark combo.
Probably, you know what my problem is? I think I'm just seeing him next to Thanatos, and they just
Yeah.
look wimpy.
Yeah, I think these are supposed to be juveniles. They're just trying to call attention to just how huge Thanatos is. Okay, so now I'm just going to bait one over so I can get his information. Because I can't get them when they're all together, because otherwise I'll get swarmed. And I don't want Thanatos to murder me. That would be bad. You're Great White. You're Great White. Come and get me.
Come on, buddy.
Alright, let's get him. Oh, damn it. Alright, let me back off. Okay. Okay. Alright, I think he's chill enough. Okay, we got his information.
Yay!
Yay. And him, I do believe I need his picture. A lovely picture of Oceana hanging out with a great white
As a
shark.
human shield.
Okay, so here's where the monk seals are. Well,
Oh, Oceana knew the whole time.
Oceana, you saw us looking around and you didn't even tell us.
She thought it was funny.
He's gonna get attacked by a great white shark for looking at these seals. It'll be hysterical. A topic that's always interested me is the geological history of landmarks, particularly ones with unusual characteristics. And the Mediterranean Sea is no exception. The Mediterranean Sea has an average depth of 1,500 meters, 4,900 feet, with its deepest recorded point at 5,267 meters, 17,280 feet. The Mediterranean is nearly landlocked, with a small opening to the Atlantic in the form of the Gibraltar Strait. It experiences little in the way of strong tides, and it has an extremely rapid evaporative rate. In fact, the level of evaporation greatly exceeds both precipitation and river runoff into the Mediterranean. Evaporation is particularly strong in its eastern half, where it's strong enough that the water level actively decreases and becomes more saline, that is, salty, the further east you go in the sea. This means that the Mediterranean's substantial volume is largely dependent on its parent ocean, the Atlantic, in order to counteract its evaporation and maintain its volume. But what if that connection was lost? What if the Mediterranean was instead an inland sea rather than connected to the Atlantic? Well, there was a time when this was the case, and indeed it may happen again. To explain, I first must explain how the Mediterranean came to exist in the first place, which means going back all the way to the Triassic period, almost 250 million years ago. During the Triassic, Earth's above-water landmasses consisted of two supercontinents: Laurasia in the north, consisting of the assemblage of modern Europe, Asia, and North America, and Gondwana in the south, consisting of South America, Africa, the Indian subcontinent, the Arabian Peninsula, Australia, and Antarctica. As these two continental landmasses shifted apart from each other from their initial unity as Pangaea, they formed the Tethys Sea and later the Tethys Ocean, a large body of water that divided the landmasses. This formed a continuous oceanic belt that straddled the Earth between latitude 30 degrees north and the equator. This formation went on for hundreds of millions of years, and the continents gradually pulled away from each other and shifted their positions, moving over time towards their much more familiar configurations. As the united Africa-Arabia supercontinent, now separated from the rest of Gondwana, moved north again, it began closing the Tethys Sea from both the east and west until the Arabian Peninsula struck Asia, creating the Neo-Tethys Sea. During this time, the intersection of the African plates and the European plates would create the Alps, while at the same time increasing the size and depth of the Mediterranean, until finally North Africa struck Europe near the Gibraltar around 5.96 million years ago, sealing the former Tethys Sea off from the Atlantic. These initial bits of isolation weren't lengthy at first. There's geological evidence that the Mediterranean was repeatedly isolated, would begin to dry out, and then would be reflooded by the Atlantic due to the changing geology and ocean conditions. However, around 5.59 million years ago, the Mediterranean was isolated again, and it stayed that way. Isolated from the Atlantic completely by the Gibraltar, the Mediterranean began to dry out. Salinity became 50 times the modern levels. Erosion formed massive canyon systems akin to the Grand Canyon throughout the Mediterranean basin. Massive formations of salt and calcium crystals began to form in deposits in the basin. It's possible that the Mediterranean may have in fact dried up completely, or at least formed very small, very few large brine lakes. But not only that. Due to the depth of the basin, now dry, combined with the winds blowing over it and the adiabatic process, the temperature down the basin would have been hellish. At 4 kilometers below sea level in the basin, it's predicted that it would have been 40 degrees Celsius, that's 72 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than it would have been at sea level. That means a theoretical maxima temperature of around 80 degrees Celsius, 176 degrees Fahrenheit. Plus the air pressure would be nearly twice that at sea level. This event is known as the Messinian Salinity Crisis. Within a millennium, the Mediterranean Sea had almost completely dried up, and its deepest regions become a hellscape that little could live within. A half a million years later, climate conditions began to shift, allowing the basin to receive more fresh water from rivers in Europe and Africa, but it did not end the crisis by any means, just helping support the few inland bodies that remained in the desiccated basin. But 5.33 million years ago, 0.63 million years after the Mediterranean was isolated from the Atlantic and almost completely dried away, something momentous occurred. The Gibraltar Strait broke. Permanently. and by doing so it let loose the Zanclean Flood, an incredible deluge of water that rushed into the basin from the Atlantic. This massive outburst flood tore open the modern Gibraltar Strait and filled the entire Mediterranean basin in a period between several months and 2 years. It's estimated that the sea level rose in the basin at rates greater than 10 meters per day, driven by a flow rate of 1,000 times the Amazon River, in both sloping channels and tremendous waterfalls. The sudden opening of the Gibraltar resulted in the global sea level decreasing by nearly 10 meters, 33 feet, during this period, and further reduced the overall salinity of the world's oceans. The result was the newborn Mediterranean Sea, now almost entirely a child of the Atlantic, with little of the ways of its Tethys biodiversity likely surviving the crisis. The increased saline conditions would make it still very unique from the Atlantic, however, and many Atlantic animals came into the Mediterranean and began to adapt to its differences, filling the now very open niches. But interestingly enough, this event could happen once again, someday, though very far in the future in the human timescale. The African plate continues to subduct the Eurasian and Anatolian plates. Over time, this could cause the Mediterranean to be closed up again, or perhaps vanish entirely. There's no way to ultimately know. The Earth is highly unpredictable, and we have a hard enough time telling what it's already done, let alone what it could possibly someday do. Still, it's fascinating to know that the landmark we know today, the cradle of Western civilization, is itself but a babe to the world. A fragile, unique thing that was created in almost an instant. A very, very, very wet instant. Well, I think we've kind of failed at this monk seal endeavor already.
Yeah.
So you can tell we've mostly ran out of air due to sharkening. What is the verb form of being sharked?
You
Is it just shark? Like
yeah.
that shark sharked
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd have to look in a couple of my textbooks, but I'm pretty sure that's the official term.
I think you're pulling my frond, but
I would never
Please
get
don't
accused
ever
of
say that again.
but everybody knows I'm a living tree. Old tree beard, the LPing tree.
that.
Quick coin!
Libra is one of the constellations of the zodiac. It is a fate constellation representing balance scales and lay between Virgo and Scorpius. Libra was originally seen as the claws of the constellation Scorpius. Two of its stars were even named, Zubin el-Janubi and Zubin esh-Shamali, meaning respectively the Scorpion's Claw and the Northern Claw.
Look at those adorable little guys.
Ah, long-spined porcupine fish! And of course, to demonstrate...
Better poke it.
Poke them.
You better
Piss
poke
them
it.
off. Piss them off. Do it. Yeah.
I love that they actually modeled that, because that's a really good-looking model, too.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
The main difference between a porcupine fish and any other birdfish is porcupine fish have erectile spines, while the other ones are permanently erect.
Reptile spine.
Oh, and this big fat fucker that's not really fat at all.
I'm a white tip reef shark, and I'm pretty relaxed.
You're gonna die. Are you aware of
They
this?
do have a wonderful specific name.
Tactical retreat. Ah. Well, we accomplished very little, but we had a good time.
give up on the goosefish, by the way.
So, okay. Well, that's it for this update. See you next time.
Yay.
Bye.
How you doing? Yeah, the thing about the goosefish name, it turns out that, yeah. Basically, there's old sailor stories of this thing coming to the surface to eat geese, which turns out to be, it's a sailor story. They have been seen actually coming to the surface to eat other seabirds, but nothing that would be called a goose. So, there you go. There is your goosefish etymology. Go away now.